Hi, this is your girl TJ. Welcome back to the Reddix Crime Files. And if you're new here, I'm glad you stopped by. Today I've put together a comparison of Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger's interviews. You'll hear what they said on some topics side by side, in their own words. Let's jump in.
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that, were out in the field. And I was messing up. And then, I took it to her like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? And, after that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office. And I think it was probably the fourth time meeting. She had asked me, because like when we were talking back and forth, I would say, like we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that. And then she was like, "What's all this weed stuff become?" Like, I took out my phone and showed her a picture. Like, my girl's on the phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, so, like, yeah, like,
And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was like right around Father's Day too. So whenever that is in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not good with holidays.
He told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after that. So that's what I do now. And I was like, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those 2 were in the process of a separation.
I didn't wear a ring at work because like I said, also to get refitted after I lost all that weight. So
he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger.
So after that, she left me alone for a couple of days. And she texted me outside the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth. And it was just, just like, like she used to work in a little rig out in North Dakota, I think. And we just kind of trading the stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And
I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual.
One day, it just kind of went to a different level, and then I never thought it would ever go to that level. But she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. Yeah, San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June. At a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And after that, we just kept seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
I don't know. We started hanging out. We hung out. We went to a park.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, because when I went from like a rover to a field coordinator, like I would spend more time in the morning time in the office trying to get everything like situated where we're going to go, everything like that. And, if I was a rover, I'd be more out in the field, and instead of like coming to the office like for more than an hour.
Right.
It just gave me more time to run into her, pretty much.
Yeah.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes. I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry like gas monitor sensors for toxic gases, and it's my job to control the inventory, any issues, anything like that. And we were having some pretty serious like equipment issues, and we had numerous amounts of people coming in my office one day, and he happened to be one of them.
What did she know about you? Did she know you were married first?
She did, once I showed her the pictures on the phone.
Yeah.
On like, the home screen picture. It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh.
So she knew I was married with my kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. One day he told me that he had kids and started talking about his kids, and then mentioned, yes, that I have a wife, but we're getting separated. I said, okay. And then
When do you think that was?
when he said all that,
So specifically when he told you he was getting separated from his wife, was that within the first couple of weeks that you knew him, or was that later on? You said you met him around May or June.
yeah, it was still in June.
Okay.
It would have been before Father's Day. I don't want to say he's a very reserved individual. I think he's probably more reserved around other people. I think he emphasized to me that one of the reasons that he really enjoyed talking to me is because if he felt like he could get out of his shell. He said around most people he just like didn't really feel the need to like talk and converse, and it wasn't just in his home life, just in general. It wasn't something where he's an introvert. And he said with me, it made him feel like he could really just start talking about things that excited him. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had things in common. So with me, I think he was a little bit more outgoing, but even then, I would still consider him to be an introvert.
Like she'd actually like asked me like my opinion on a lot of things, and just like what I wanted to do, and just kind of like I just always felt nervous. I always felt like I was, never could actually just be myself.
Right.
Nikki, I was myself like all the time. It was just different. The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, about the 144th over there, and I asked her like, "Hey, you want to go see this movie?" And like, she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we got there, it was sold out. And normally I'd probably just have just wait 2 hours, like just go home. But now she just wanted to walk around and just talk. I'm like, okay.
Oh wow.
So that was different, and I think she wanted to go to the car museum, Shelby Museum in Boulder. I'd never been there, and I was
That's right up your alley. It's
yeah,
mechanic.
I was just like, that was awesome, just to walk around cars for like an hour or so, and then drag race in Vandermeer, and then went to camping in Sand Dunes National Park, and I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it.
I mean, not on the extreme end. If an introvert went to like 1 to 10, I'd put him at like a 4 or 5. So on the lighter side of introversion.
Pretty even keeled.
Yes, like really relaxed, like all the time. He was never really like worked up about anything. Just
Mellow,
chill.
easygoing guy.
Very much.
Okay. And he was that way with you. Did he ever have any kind of? Did you guys ever have arguments? I mean,
No.
pretty short relationship. No arguments during that time.
No.
Did he ever lose his temper at any time?
Never.
You guys never had a yelling match?
No.
So you never saw him upset or mad?
No. And there was a couple times that we had some disagreements on things that as we further progress into this story, but it was never I am very calm when I talk to people. It's extremely rational when I handle situations that there's a disagreement in.
Did you and Nikki ever fight?
We never fought, but like I said, I had to calm her down a bunch of times.
Yeah, you started to mention that when we were talking to you before about her getting upset about some video or something about being bipolar or
Well,
what are you talking about?
I think either my dad told me about that or Don Walsh told me about she made a couple videos when she was just talking to herself, saying that she was bipolar or something like that. But a lot of things when she realized that she's the other person in the relationship, that I'd always put my wife first over her, and that's what kind of made her take a step back a few times, and then I had to kind of calm her down.
Tell me about those times. What'd that look like?
So the first one was probably around July 4th when I had to leave her house. So because she wanted to kind of spend most of the day together before she went to a baseball game or something. And when I had to leave, it kind of just made her kind of take a step back and wonder what she was doing. And I just told her hey, just because of what's going just because I had to leave doesn't mean you have to just take a step. I was comforting her at some point. I don't even know why I was doing it. Maybe I knew I was too far gone at that point, but it was.
Business is Shanann's pissed. She's called you 10 times. You were sleeping.
Yeah.
Take your day off.
Yeah.
And then you go outside to talk to her on the phone and tell Nikki that you need to go home just in case she calls back and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did she say to you, Nikki?
She was in the shower. She said, okay. And then that's when I talked about I calm her down. It's he's on the phone.
And was she we're breaking up, we're not gonna, I can't do
No.
this,
She
or-
said she didn't want to, she didn't think it was safe or it was good for us to see each other anymore that day, the rest of that day, just because of all that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then she asked me to come over later on after she got back from her baseball game.
And so you did that?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the second one like?
It was basically about the same thing. She was, I didn't really know it at one point, but I guess she had set up a couple dates with like some eHarmony app or something, and they never showed up. And she'd already made plans with me, and you know,
Wait,
she,
what do you mean? She set up dates when she had plans with you?
yeah,
Why would she do that?
I guess she kind of figured out they weren't going to show up. She went, I guess I guess when she went to the baseball game, they never showed up, and there was another one and never showed up either. So,
So she's actively dating other people while you guys are together?
so like a couple weeks later,
How'd you find out? What'd she say?
she, it was one conversation where I actually kind of fell asleep on the couch, and then like she had told me like I'm not sure why she even told me about it, but it was very random, and she could tell that it kind of like took me back a little bit because I figured she would have told me that if she was actively still like looking around. I mean, she didn't have to tell me, but I figured
Do
she
you
would
think she told you though so that it would hurry you up and
make a decision.
you're making a decision?
It might have been, but it's. She never had anybody that actually tried to like fix things as far as like hey, like I like where we're at as far as like the relationship goes, and actually like I did stuff for her around the house, around her little apartment. Like, nobody's ever done that. She just thought it was different.
It's like I never stressed anything. I think one thing that actually kind of drew me to him was the fact that he was like very open with communicating with me if there were any like differences on how we saw things or just like open-minded about things. It was actually I personally thought it was kind of unique because usually most of the men that I've ever met are typically very closed off, and I didn't get that from him.
But like, so that confuses me though, because I thought earlier you were saying she thought you were heading toward a divorce. So why was she looking at herself as
This was later on.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
In August, like
Okay.
first week of August, when I told her like, I had that talk with her about separation,
Uh-huh.
that's when like she started looking at like apartments and stuff. But like during our July relationship type thing there,
Oh, I see.
that's when she was looking up like, it will actually work. And she
Well-
told her friend Brittany about it, I guess, and Brittany told her not to do it, but she said she'd already made a decision.
Okay.
What do you think about not separating from your wife? Like, what if you really try to work on this? And he had expressed to me that we've tried to work on this and it's not working, so that is why we're separating. And I spent some time, like, just, kind of, because it almost made me feel bad, where I was, like, to the point where I'm engaging in a relationship with a man who, the way he described it, is in a contractual agreement, but was not in like an emotional relationship with somebody. And for me, the way I would have preferred to do this is to have waited till that contractual agreement was also done, and he was done. And he could have approached me and said, I'm just had a divorce, maybe we could take this slow, what do you think? But instead it was, oh, we're separated and we're working on a divorce. And that is the part that I feel bad about because I should have waited on that and I didn't.
And so, are those people absolutely wrong about Nikki? She wasn't asking you to get rid of your family?
No.
Are you sure? Okay. And no part of any of this was because she put it in your head or asked you to, or
You never, I mean, this whole relationship contributed to it,
sure.
but she didn't want me to.
And, I was just like, well, they're already there. So, but then being in a house, it was just like, why? Fix this. Find a way to fix this. Make it work, And I was like trying to push him to do it, and he seemed pretty reluctant to do it. He didn't want to. And, I don't know, we were still seeing each other fairly frequently, but I kind of like backed away so we weren't hanging out quite as much, and we were still close, but it was just like I really wanted him to try. Like I wanted to know that he tried and it didn't work, and then he moved on, not that, they both kind of tried and then he got himself into a situation with somebody else. And I don't know, I just thought he had a beautiful life going on and he could have made it work.
And you had some secret apps, right?
That was on my personal phone.
Were you using anything else to have contact with her?
I just texted her with my work phone. And like, when Shanann and the kids went to North Carolina, she used my personal phone. And she just told me like to put pictures in an app, and I just found that calculator. I just put, just searched on the app store, like hidden pictures, and that's the calculator app person popped up.
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
Off of
Would
that?
you mind if we got his photos that he sent to you?
Oh, well, there'll be in that text message thing.
So all his photos were sent. There was no apps or anything else used
No,
that you
no,
guys
no,
were
no,
sending.
no,
It was
no.
all just text messages.
Yeah,
Okay. So it'd be an attachment to a text that he sent you.
pretty much.
But
Everything is in the text and the phone call records.
How about your Facebook account? You deleted that at some point. When did you do that? And
I think
why?
it was, got back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me. And I just figured, they'd probably look me up on Facebook and see that she was pregnant. If Nikki already knew probably already, but I just I did that.
I mean, was it ever like, I wish you didn't have kids. I want to have, kids of my own with you. Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I'd like to give you a son.
did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know. Because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
Like, how did she not see
I
that?
don't know. Maybe she did. She just wait for me to tell her, or she put it out her head.
we discussed prior to turning the tape on Tuesday, which would have been the 14th of August. You had read some newspaper articles on the 13th and the 14th that regarded this case. You had also had a conversation with Chris at some point during the day on Monday. And on Tuesday, because of what you found, specifically what you said was, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but you found out that his wife was pregnant.
And yes.
And you did not know that prior. And you found that out via the newspaper articles, and that caused you concern.
Well, I just realized that he was lying to me, and I was like, well, if you can lie to me about this, what else are you lying to me about? I decided on my lunch break to get on the internet and look at what was going on with all the reports, and I saw a report that was like, this woman who's 15 weeks pregnant and her 2 daughters are missing, and I was like, whoa, what? And I was just like so floored, and I read a couple other articles just to make sure that, all the newspapers are, and like just double check, like, am I really reading this right? And I'm like, okay. And he had told me previously, like, she says she's pregnant with another man's kid, but he'd said, like, he could kind of tell in North Carolina, but that girl is like obviously pregnant. I mean, in her photos. 15 weeks, that's like 4 months. That's pretty far along. And so it's like, how would you not know if she's showing? Like, you totally know she's showing. And so, oh my God, I got so sick. I was just like, I need to go. I just like packed my stuff and I left work and I went home, and so he said that she woke up and those two kind of just like got in a disagreement, and I don't know what all was said, but he was like, she was being pretty mean, and then he said, she told me that she's pregnant, and she told me that the kid is not mine. That is what he told me.
So she's pregnant, the kid's not mine.
And that she's...
Like, he's playing it. He didn't know she was pregnant
Yep.
until that morning.
Yep.
And that she had an affair with somebody else.
Yes, and this is before I knew she was 15 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
Like, all the stuff on Monday that I read from my recollection, because I didn't find out she was pregnant until Tuesday. So anything that got posted on Monday did not emphasize the fact that she, like, had a baby on board.
She told me to delete everything, and I didn't delete everything. Okay. I'm not sure why I didn't delete everything, but probably helped you guys out a little bit. But
She told you to delete everything?
delete all conversations.
Did she tell you why?
That delete it. I don't think you can ever delete a text message.
We're pretty good at getting deleted text messages.
So Tuesday, after that conversation, I told him, I told him to delete his text because I knew he was like going crazy texting me, and I didn't want any of his friends to see him texting me because I don't think they knew about me. It had nothing to do with you guys. It made me realize that maybe his wife was in danger at that point, and it was day 2 too, and she still wasn't home.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it, and then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Okay. So just for context,
Yes.
when people delete stuff off phones, usually we go, hold on a second.
No. It
And
wasn't
that's why I
malicious
wanted,
at all. It
And I'm
wasn't
not saying it's
malicious at all. He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean,
Right.
telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him. That's literally what I did. I just cut him out of my life. It would have honestly been like a bad breakup kind of thing. Like, if none of this other stuff would have happened, that's what it would have been. That would have been the end of it.
The information was not destroyed because there was anything in there that would be harmful to you or potentially to Chris at this point, but harmful to you in particular. That's not why you did it.
No.
You did it out of, excuse my language, this guy's an asshole, so I'm getting rid of him, and I'm getting this stuff off my phone.
That was like me kicking him out of my life.
Okay.
Yeah, the bankruptcy was something I never thought was going to happen. I think that was back in like 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. But I never thought that was going to happen. And I never thought, a lot of it was from the wedding because they just put it all on credit cards. And so it was, and then the doctor bills from like, in the Scott beads, and just like girls seemed like they were sick like every month. It seemed like some type of ear infection, which to figure out was just like, put the tubes in their ears and stuff. There was like different operations here, a couple overnight stays in the hospital for breathing and stuff like that. It was just, it all mounted up. I mean, I never thought it was that far gone, but
Was any of that from Shannon's neck surgery, or are those bills pretty well paid up?
Well, I think the bankruptcy never touched the medical part of it because you have to be like by the medical part of it, medical bankruptcy, and then there's like regular bankruptcy.
Oh,
I don't think bankruptcy ever touches like student loans or medical stuff. You have to like be specific with that.
okay.
But I think it just took away like a lot of the furniture that we had bought, and then a couple other things inside the house. Kind of alleviate a lot of the. I didn't. I mean, it took. I mean, we had to make the house payment on my phone every month, and I had to listen to the bankruptcy spiel like every time, and it's just like I didn't know how long it was going to take. But apparently, it was. I mean, once you're in bankruptcy, it's pretty much you never get out of it. I think it felt like.
You guys weren't you guys behind on your mortgage?
Yeah, like earlier, and it's like I think December 2017, and then January, February, March 2018. That's when I took we took the 401k out, the loan out to pay for that.
How was it that you were spending so much money? What were you thinking down?
Just, kids and just other bills that we had, and just, I mean, I knew the car was getting paid for by the bill. You know, I never really asked. Do you like? I mean, I didn't even have access to the bank account in my phone.
Oh,
So like I never really asked to see what it looked like how far. But I just know she'd call me and tell me, hey, can you pay the mortgage today? I'm like, yeah, cool. And that was, you know, from my little 4-wheeler incident where I sold it without actually paying it off yet, and she thought like, no, you're never touching the account ever. So I'm like, okay, that's cool with me. But I never saw the account or what was in there. I just like, hey, there's my, like when I worked at Longmont Ford, I got my check, I just brought it there.
Yes. There was a hair care company, I think it's called Monat. Does that ring a bell? You know anything about that? Like maybe hair dye. I don't know. Looks like do you know she did like an auto order to that company and had stuff delivered? For hair, any kind of hair care product or hair care dye?
That's something. I mean, she had like there's something like a little gift pack she had delivered once every month or once every 2 months. Had like a different array of different products in it.
Don't remember where it's from.
Like we said, Monet.
Monat, Monat. No.
Well,
There was an order that was made, like 251. That's why I asked if it was like an auto order type.
it might have been an auto order.
Yeah,
It might have been something that I know that Nicole Atkinson, she's sending all that stuff. Maybe Shanann got her. Maybe Shanann got her something, or maybe it was something she recommended.
Okay. How about the HOA thing? What happened there?
She was mailing it to the wrong address. They had changed their address, and she'd mailed it to the wrong address for a year. And then we got a letter in the mail where we getting like sued over it. We had to pay our HOAs for a year, so we had to pay double for either a whole year or a couple months. That sucked.
What happened to all the money that she sent to the wrong address?
Don't know. I don't know. They said they wouldn't credit it or anything. I'm not sure what the address was. She said it was just something that she didn't see. And I was like, well, I wasn't gonna harp her about it because she did so much. So I was like, I'm not gonna like say, what the heck are we doing? No, I'm just don't need that to go on. I know she felt bad enough.
He tells you he has a concern enough to at least express something to you that he's frustrated with the way she spends, or he's upset with working so hard and never having any money, and she's kind of she's the responsible party for spending most of the money.
I pretty much got that vibe. I mean, he just told me, he's like, we're house broke all the time. I was just like, that's unfortunate. And I asked him, I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get in a relationship with somebody, I want to know, like, what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important if I walk into a situation where I'm like, hey, I have good credit and I have all these things that I've been building, and you don't have your stuff together, like, what are we going to do with this? And it's important for your long-term
You're smart.
thing. So I'm preparing. And so I just asked him, I was like, well, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah, I do have that. And then I asked him, I was like, I didn't ask him, like, how much debt they had or anything, but I just said, is your lifestyle sustainable? And he was like, no.
Like even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because like it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on that Saturday night, and he was like, "Hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game. You want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals?" Like in my mind, it was like, go, just say, "Hey, I can't find a babysitter."
Finicky.
Yeah, and maybe that would have been like like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out. This seems like, but I wish I would have said, yeah, let's go. Yeah. And I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
Last Wednesday, he came to my house, and this past Saturday, we went to, what's the name of that bar that we used to go to. It's not the same. The Lazy Dog, but it's the one off of 144th and I-25. I think it's 144th. Up there.
And it's the Lazy Dog.
Yes.
Did he ever mention a Rockies game that night?
No, I don't think so. But there was a, the Broncos were playing.
Okay. So do you recall what time you went there?
No. I remember, well, kind of. So he had to get a babysitter that night.
Do you know who that was?
Somebody who's really young. I remember I asked him who his babysitter was, and he's like, we have two. This girl's only 17, but the other one's out of town. So this girl's going to stay, and she doesn't do overnights, so I got to be back by 10. And I remember her saying that, and him saying,
Somebody, my parents call it gate. Nut gate.
What's that?
Oh,
The peanut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with her family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
pistachio ice cream or whatever.
Yeah, they people
Nut
buy
gate.
it.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, I guess what people are calling it.
Okay.
But that was like another outlet. You know, maybe I could have just like stopped everything with Nikki and just kind of concentrated on helping like whatever happened there. Because Shan had a story, my mom had a story. Like, you know, whatever happened, I probably asked my 10-year-old nephew. Probably could tell me what actually happened.
Well, and they both have their feelings for good reasons, and they both didn't see it the other person's way. And
Yeah, and like maybe because I didn't talk to my parents from then on until like August 6th. She was pretty much gone. Oh, like she tried to kill my daughter by giving her. I was like, I don't think she gave it to him. But
and that was that her stance, is that your mom
put something in front of Cece.
Like to kill her or
No, just like
didn't care,
like
didn't pay attention.
she thinks that allergies and like this state of age is like people think, oh,
like it's made up
but
kind
he'll,
of
yeah,
thing.
he'll be fine. He'll just have a rash. He'll be fine. I've seen CC, you know, like the first time, seen a picture when he had a cashew the first time. It wasn't good. And then she had kiwi the second time, and then the same thing happened. And I know it's real.
Do you know it's serious? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't like her throat like closed up, but she broke out in this full body rash that looked really crazy looking. And luckily, like, you know, nothing with her throat like happened. But
So did that make you angry at your mom for doing that?
yeah, I mean, I was just like, well, you just gotta. I told her you need to think. You need to like, you know, pay attention. Just because another kid can have something doesn't mean another kid can have something. Because like when we were at that birthday party at Jeremy's that Sunday, you know, they had this cake there. Like Bella wanted it so bad. I'm like, can't give it to her because she can't have it. She was like, you know, okay. And all the other kids were like, if they can't have the cake, you know. But like, I just kind of took them off. Gave him some like one of those frozen pops or something. But you know, it's just like she had to learn that just because one kid can have something and there's another kid that can't have it for a legitimate reason, like she couldn't have done it. But you know, that's the kind of talk I had with her when Shannon called me. I think it was maybe like middle of July or something when she told me all this had happened.
Mhm.
That's when I called my mom and talked to them for a while, and then they're just like, you know, they just couldn't deal with her anymore. Shannon just kind of like, you know, they like flipped out. My nephew told Bella to go hide behind the curtain because I don't think your mom was going to let you come over here again or something like that.
Oh.
So it got heated.
Oh, it was bad.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a last straw between them, I think.
Like in the same room or over the phone?
No, they were at the house.
They were, and so they were
my
really
mother's
heated.
house. Yeah, but Cece and Bella and my niece and nephew were there.
Okay.
How did Shanann find out about the ice cream thing?
Because Chanel was there, and I guess they were all sitting. One's couch was kind of like a U, and my niece went into the kitchen, and she knew where the ice cream was.
Oh.
There.
So it's not like your mom gave it to her? Like she got her own?
Yeah, she went in the freezer, got it, went out, and stopped beside Cece and started eating. So, but like, it's just a matter of like Cece could go like
Right.
like that. Now, I don't know what would happen if she just got it on her hand.
Right.
But like I know on like the prick test, you know,
Mhm.
on the back, it's like a well.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time? 'Cause-
Yeah, it was. So they would go from from Sandy and Frank's house
Yeah.
for like a few days or 5 days, and then go to my mom and dad's house for a couple of days. Back and forth.
So it happened during that time. You were there, yeah. Okay.
So
your conversation with the children, or about the children, was there ever any talk about medical concerns with either of the children?
Well, I know Cece is allergic to not peanuts, like pine nuts. Pine nuts.
So she has a nut allergy.
Yes.
Did they take meds?
Yeah, I know that she had like an EpiPen, but as far as I know, she didn't have any meds. But I never asked. Like, I was just told like she has a pretty severe allergy, and
Enough to carry an EpiPen. That's pretty severe.
yeah. While we're on this, so when he was in North Carolina, this is all like hearsay now because it's like this is not a conversation. Like, he's telling me this stuff, but who knows exactly what happened. But he went out there to go see his family and her family. And while he was in town, before he went out to North Carolina, I guess his mother had accidentally, like, not exposed her to something with nuts, but had, like, given a product, I think it was like ice cream, to a different kid that could have traces of nuts or something. I don't know. But it was like his daughter was fine, but she was, like, in the range of contamination. And I think his wife was very upset about that. And when he got to North Carolina, he told me that he was supposed to spend like half time with them, half the time with her family, and that was supposed to be what it was. I don't know. But he said that he went to go see his family and they weren't answering the phone for like a day or two before he went out there. And then when he got there, there was a note on the door that said, son, if you step by, we're at the beach. And they ignored him for like most of the time that he was out there. And
His own family?
yes, his mom, his dad, and
What do
his
you-
sister.
What's the significance? Do you know why?
Yeah, he said, and again, I don't know what is true with this man anymore and what's not, but he told me that, like, leading up to it, I was like, well, why are your folks, like, ignoring you? And I was, like, really concerned about this. Like, every single day he would talk to me when he was out there, and I was like, you talked to your family today? You talked to your family today? Did you talk to your dad? What happened? Did you talk to him? No, I didn't. Or, yeah, I talked to my mom. Well, what'd she say? Are you going to hang out with him? Like, I wanted him to see his people because it's important. Family is an important thing. You know, it just needs to function properly. And
Sure.
and so I was like, well, and he was like, well, they're ignoring me. And I was like, what do you think happened? And he's like, I'm not really sure, but I think something was said between my wife and them during that incident. And he's like, because
The
every time
peanut
yes,
or
that
fruit
happened
nuts.
before he got there, yes. And he's like, because every time that I try to, I talk about possibly going over there to see if they're home, she gets upset about it. And I was like, okay. And he told me that his mom and his wife did not get along at all. He said that his mom didn't even show up to his wedding because she's like really did not care for Shanann. So again, I don't know what's true and what's not, but I just know that there was like some tension there.
Mhm.
And again, like that part is like I feel like it's almost third party, so that's why it's
Sure.
like I didn't even
Well, but
bring
it
up
came from
later.
him to you, so it's not. It is something that is whether it's important or not, we can validate that. I'm sure we will be having some conversations with family. What does it mean? I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know either, but I just know
so
like
maybe she, I don't know.
well, and then he ended up seeing them on the last like full day that he was there, and they told him supposedly that she had gotten really upset and had screamed and yelled in front of Chris's sister's kids that are very young, and to his mom and to his dad, and said like, "You're never going to see Chris again. You're never going to see me. You're never going to see the babies," and just like threatened them, and then like walked off. And I guess that was the incident that happened prior to him coming out there, and then she didn't tell him about it.
Mhm.
She just like let it go, and then he just spent all week trying to figure out why his family was like
Mm.
not trying to be involved.
Gotcha.
Can I ask kind of a tough question?
Hmm.
Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her.
Well, I mean, it felt like it was, I think, like when you say like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue.
So you're pretty serious. Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, he did
Did you ever tell him the same?
a couple times.
Not withstanding that today, because those thoughts may have changed for you, but on, let's go Sunday into Monday or Monday, did you still love him on those days?
I think it was something where it was like I said it a few times and I meant it, but he definitely felt the urge to say it to me a lot more than I did to him, because it was just all very new to me, and it was like, take your time with this. Like, you don't need to like rush that.
In the back of my head, I was just telling myself, "What are you doing?" Like, every time I open up my phone, I can see pictures like of my wife and my kids. I'm just like, "What am I doing?" And then like every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like a blinder that was on my face.
For me, it was still like very, very new, so I kind of like took my time and only said it when I was just like, this is a really important moment.
But,
What about her ring and stuff? What were you thinking about that?
it's like, maybe she actually really wanted a divorce. Maybe she didn't want to fix it. Just put it there on the counter.
She took it off? Or did you take it off?
I took it off.
Okay. Oh, so that would look like she was saying, I want a divorce. I'm leaving it here when I take it off.
It was strange. So another thing, so that was Tuesday, and that was it for Tuesday, but I forgot some stuff on Monday that I did need to bring up to you guys. So Monday, when we were on the phone at one point, he mentioned to me, I can't even believe I have to say this, she left her wedding ring here. And I said something along the lines of, does that mean you two are done? And he was like, he said, how much do you think it's worth? And I was like, remember hearing him say that and being like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't even know how to respond to this. And so I was like, I don't know, pawn it, man. And I was just like, I pawn jewelry all the time. I pawn jewelry a few times. I was like, it's not worth shit, though.
And that's where it ends, at least for now. With Kessinger's words about Shanann's wedding ring, it's worth shit. In the end, that's exactly how Chris saw his own family. Worth nothing. If you want to see a part 2 of interview comparisons, let me know in the comment section. And make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!